parents told me I was selfish after my sister slapped me on her anniversary, because I asked her to return money she borrowed from me for her wedding. I got angry and... It was my sister Emily's first wedding anniversary, and the whole family had gathered at her house for dinner. It was the first time I'd been in the same room with her since her wedding day a year ago. Not by choice, mind you. Things had been tense between us ever since I loaned her $5,000 for her wedding expenses. We'd agreed she'd pay it back within a few months, but a year had passed, and every time I'd brought it up, she either dodged the question or changed the subject. I hadn't planned on making a scene that night, but as we sat around the table laughing and toasting their happy year together, I couldn't hold it in anymore. It felt like the perfect moment to finally get an answer. "Emily," I began, trying to keep my voice even. "We need to talk about the money I lent you for the wedding. It's been a year now. When can I expect you to pay it back?" The table fell silent. Emily's smile faded and she slowly put down her wine glass. She didn't say a word. She just got up, walked over to me and slapped me across the face. Hard. For a second, I just sat there, stunned. Then anger hit me like a tidal wave. I jumped up and lunged at her. I didn't think. I just wanted to do something, anything to show her that she couldn't treat me like this. We ended up pushing and shouting, and before I knew it, our parents were pulling us apart. "I'm done with this," I snapped, still seething. "I don't care anymore. If you think you're right, fine. I'll just say this, I wish you well, Emily." "You don't care?" she shot back. "Good. Because I don't owe you anything. It was a gift, and you don't give a gift back." Her words took the wind out of my sails. A gift? That wasn't the deal, and she knew it. But before I could respond, my mother interrupted. "Enough, both of you," she said, her voice sharp. Then she turned to me. "You are so selfish. How could you ruin their anniversary like this? They're just starting their life together, and all you care about is money." I stared at her, stunned. My dad chimed in, agreeing with her, and suddenly I felt like the villain in a movie I didn't even know I was in. I looked over at Kevin, Emily's husband, hoping he'd back me up. He was just standing there, trying to calm Emily down. No one, not even him, was on my side. And I wasn't going to back down. I left the party not long after that, barely holding it together until I got to my car. As I drove home, my face still stung from the slap, but the worst part was the sinking realization that my parents had made up their minds about me long ago. Emily was their golden child. Growing up, she could do no wrong. If she broke a plate, it was an accident. If I broke one, it was because I was careless. If she got an A, it was a sign of her brilliance. If I got one, it was expected. And now, even as an adult, nothing had changed. The next day my mother called me, probably expecting me to apologize. Instead, I laid it all out. "You've treated Emily like an idol all our lives," I said. "Everything revolves around her. She gets everything handed to her, while I have to fight for every inch. Do you think I'm selfish for mentioning the money? She borrowed $5,000 from me. Borrowed. We had an agreement. I don't care if it's her anniversary, she's been avoiding it for a year. How am I the bad guy here?" "She's your sister," my mother shot back. "You should be happy for her. She's trying to make a life for herself, and you make everything about you. Honestly, we're tired of you criticizing her all the time. You've always been so hard on her." "Are you serious?" I said. "I'm hard on her? I've supported her every step of the way. I helped pay for her wedding. I never even asked for anything in return except that she keep her word. But no, I'm being selfish because I expect basic decency." "Got it." After that, I stopped returning her calls. I needed time to cool off, but I also needed them to understand that I wasn't going to keep playing this game where Emily got to take and take while I was left picking up the pieces. In the days that followed, I thought a lot about what had happened. Part of me felt guilty, maybe I shouldn't have brought it up at her anniversary dinner. But another part of me was angry that it had come to this. If Emily had just been honest from the beginning, none of this would have happened. Then, 3 days later, Emily texted me. "We need to talk. Can you come over?" I debated whether to go. But I figured if she was finally ready to face me, I might as well hear her out. Whatever was coming, I was ready. Or at least I thought I was. When I arrived at Emily's house, it was clear that she wasn't in the mood to talk. Her arms were crossed, her jaw was set, and she didn't even offer me a seat. Kevin was in the kitchen, hovering as if he wanted to intervene but didn't know how. "What do you want, Emily?" I asked, getting right to the point. She looked at me as if I'd asked her the most ridiculous question in the world. "You've been making a big deal about this money for months," she said. "Why are you so obsessed with it? I told you it was a gift." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "It wasn't a gift, Emily. We had an agreement. I helped you because you said you'd pay me back. I trusted you. How can you stand there and pretend this conversation never happened?" Her expression didn't change. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. It's not like you're struggling for money. You have a good job, a nice apartment. Why does it matter?" "It matters because it's about respect," I shot back. "It's not about the money anymore. It's about you thinking you can walk all over me and I'll just take it. You think you're entitled to whatever you want, and Mom and Dad let you believe that because they never hold you accountable for anything." Kevin jumped in and finally broke his silence. "All right, let's just calm down," he said, his voice calm but cautious. "This isn't helping." I ignored him. "Emily, you borrowed $5,000 from me. I didn't have to help you, but I did because I thought I could trust you. And now you're treating me like I'm the bad guy for asking you to keep your word? Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds?" Her face turned red. "Fine. If it's that important to you, I'll pay you back. But I need time. I can't just hand over that kind of money right now." "You've had a year," I said, crossing my arms. "How much more time do you need?" "I don't know," she snapped. "A few months, maybe? I'll figure it out. But I can't have you harassing me about it anymore. You've already ruined my anniversary, and now you're here yelling at me in my own house. I wouldn't have to keep bringing it up if you had just done what you said you were going to do," I said. "But fine. You've got 2 months. If I don't have the money by then, I'll call my lawyer." Emily's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious," I said. "I'm done playing nice." I turned to leave, but before I walked out the door, I looked back at Kevin. He looked uncomfortable, like he wanted to say something but couldn't decide whose side to take. That told me all I needed to know. I left without another word. 2 months. That was all I was willing to give her. And if she thought I was bluffing, she was in for a rude awakening. The fallout from that conversation rippled through the family like a stone dropped into a still pond. Within hours, my mother called me again, her voice sharp as a knife. "Emily told us what you said," she began. "A lawyer? Are you seriously threatening your own sister over a few dollars?" "A few dollars?" I shot back. "It's $5,000, Mom. That's not pocket change. I loaned it to her because she promised to pay me back. She didn't, and now she's acting like we never even had that agreement. What am I supposed to do, just let it go?" "Yes," she said bluntly. "She's family. You don't take family to court. It's disgusting. Family doesn't lie to each other either," I said. "Family doesn't take advantage of each other and then act like victims when they get called out. But I guess that only applies to me, huh? You've always been jealous of her," Mom said, her voice cold. "This isn't about money. It's about you wanting to tear her down because you can't stand to see her happy." I actually laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Jealous? Of what? That she gets to waltz through life while I clean up her messes? Please. If anything, I'm jealous that she gets away with it because you enable her." The conversation ended with Mom hanging up, and for the next few days I felt like I was living in some kind of twilight zone. Emily hadn't gotten back to me, but I heard from my dad that she was devastated by my behavior. "She's devastated?" I said in disbelief. I'm the one who got slapped in front of the whole family. I'm the one who lost $5,000. But sure, let's all feel bad for Emily. Dad sighed. Look, I'm not saying what she did was right. But she's under a lot of stress and this isn't helping. Can't you just let it go? No, I said firmly. She needs to take responsibility for once in her life. If you and Mom want to keep coddling her, that's your choice, but I'm done playing along. She's got 2 months, and that's final. I think he realized there was no point in arguing, because he didn't push it any further. Still, the whole situation left me feeling completely isolated. My parents clearly weren't going to support me, and Kevin was as spineless as ever. I began to question myself, wondering if I was the problem. Maybe I was being too hard on her. But every time I thought about Emily slapping me and then acting like the money didn't matter, my anger flared up all over again. She had 2 months. That was more than generous. If she didn't come through, I was fully prepared to make good on my threat. This time, I wasn't backing down. Over the next few weeks, things only got worse. My parents, clearly on Emily's side, made no effort to hide their disapproval. Every phone call or text from them turned into a passive-aggressive lecture about how I was tearing the family apart, or how Emily was under so much pressure. You know they've been trying to save up for a house. Mom said during one particularly frustrating call. She just needs time. They've been on 3 vacations this year, Mom. I said, choking back the urge to yell. Don't tell me she doesn't have the money. She just won't pay me back because she knows you'll take her side no matter what. We're not taking sides, she insisted, though her tone said otherwise. We just think you're being unreasonable. Unreasonable. The word stuck in my head like a thorn. Was it unreasonable to expect someone to honor an agreement? Was it unreasonable to want to be treated with respect? Meanwhile, Emily was radio silent. No text, no call, nothing. It was almost impressive how easily she could ignore the situation while I stewed in it. I heard through the grapevine, read Mom, that she was heartbroken over our fight and didn't know how to make things right. She could start by paying me back. I said. That's not the point. Mom replied. Of course, it never was to her. I tried to vent to a few friends, hoping they'd help me feel less crazy. Most of them agreed with me if Emily borrowed the money, she should pay it back. But one of them hesitated. Are you sure you want to go this far? My friend Claire asked. Getting a lawyer involved. I mean, it's family. You might win, but is it worth losing them over? I sighed. She's the one who made it this way. I didn't want it to come to this, but what choice do I have? She won't talk to me. She won't admit what she did. If I let this go, it's just going to happen again. I understand that, Claire said. I just think you need to be sure. Once you cross that line, there's no going back. Her words stayed with me, even as my resolve remained firm. Deep down, I didn't want to lose Emily, but I also couldn't stand the thought of her thinking she could get away with this. The 2-month deadline was fast approaching, and each day felt like a ticking clock. Part of me hoped that Emily would come to her senses before it came to that. But the other part of me was already drafting an email to my lawyer. By the 6th week, I was tired of waiting. I wasn't just angry anymore, I was desperate. Being a single mom isn't exactly a financial picnic, and that $5,000 wasn't some trivial amount I could just write off. It was my emergency fund, my safety net, and I had stretched every dollar since I'd given it to Emily. Groceries, daycare, car repairs, it all added up, and I was scraping by while she and Kevin posted pictures of yet another weekend getaway. I couldn't stop thinking about the way she had shrugged it off, like my struggles didn't even register with her. She'd never been in my shoes. She didn't know what it was like to open the refrigerator and wonder how long the milk would last, or to check your bank balance before buying gas. That money wasn't extra, it was essential. And I needed it back. This time I called Emily directly. No texts, no intermediaries, just straight to the source. When she answered, I skipped the pleasantries. Emily, I need the money. Now. She sighed, As if I was inconveniencing her. I already told you, I don't have it. That's a lie, I said. You went on vacation, bought new furniture through parties. You have the money. You just don't want to give it back. It's not that simple, she said. It is that simple. I snapped. You owe me $5,000. I'm not asking for charity, I'm asking for what's mine. If you don't pay me back by the end of the week, I'm calling my lawyer. You're unbelievable, she said, her voice rising. Do you care about anyone but yourself? You're willing to destroy our relationship over a few $1,000s? I laughed bitterly. Destroy our relationship? Emily, you destroyed it the moment you slapped me and called my money a gift. You're not the victim here. You made this mess, and you're the only one who can fix it. She tried to argue, but I wasn't interested in debating. End of the week, Emily, I said. No excuses. I hung up before she could respond, and then I braced myself for the fallout. Sure enough, my mom called less than an hour later. Emily just called me in tears, she said, as if I didn't know where this was going. Why are you doing this to her? She's your sister. Because I'm tired of being the only one taking responsibility, I said. She borrowed the money from me. I didn't give it to her. I need it back and I'm tired of waiting. You don't understand the pressure she's under, Mom said. She and Kevin are trying to build their future, and you're making it impossible. And what about me? I shot back. What about my future? Or my son's? Do you even care what this has done to me? Mom didn't have an answer. She just kept insisting that I was being cruel, selfish, unreasonable, any word she could think of to guilt me into backing down. But I didn't budge. At the end of the week, Emily showed up at my door. She didn't even try to fake an apology. She handed me a check for the full amount, her expression icy. There, she said. Happy now? I took the check, looked her in the eye, and said, I'll be happy when you grow up and stop treating people like they're disposable. She stormed off, and that was the last time we spoke. I cashed the check right away. It wasn't just about the money. It was about standing up for myself for once and refusing to let her or anyone else walk all over me. If that made me selfish, so be it. I could live with that. The money was back in my account, and for the first time in a year, I didn't feel the knot of stress in my chest every time I thought about my finances. But the cost of getting it back wasn't just financial. Emily and I weren't speaking, and my parents had made it painfully clear that they thought I was the villain in this story. A few weeks later, my mother called again. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. I hope you're happy, she said, skipping any kind of greeting. Emily doesn't want to come to Thanksgiving because of you. She's heartbroken, and now the whole family is suffering. I took a deep breath. Mom, I'm sorry that Emily feels that way, but I'm not going to apologize for standing up for myself. I didn't ruin our relationship, she did when she broke her promise and treated me like I didn't matter. She's your sister, Mom said. Family is supposed to forgive one another. Forgiveness is earned, I said. And I can't keep pretending everything's okay when it's not. I've done that my whole life, and look where it got me. After that, I stopped expecting my parents to understand. They were never going to see things from my perspective, and I was tired of trying to explain myself. As for Emily, I never heard from her again. Part of me hoped that time would heal things between us, but another part of me accepted that it might not. Perhaps this was the price I had to pay for setting boundaries, for refusing to be the family doormat. In the months that followed, I poured my energy into the things that really mattered: my son, my career, and the friendships that had sustained me through it all. I still missed the way things used to be with Emily, but I didn't regret my decision. Sometimes standing up for yourself means walking away from people who don't respect you, even if they're family. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And for the first time in a long time, I felt in control of my life. Thanksgiving came and went without Emily, and my parents' silence was louder than any argument. But I knew one thing for sure: I didn't owe anyone an apology for putting myself first. And that was a lesson I wouldn't forget.